You've fallen into a state of mind known as stimulus dimension. I'm a resident of the realm and your host, DENNELL Young. This entity delves into the source of environmental ills we are faced within the Black community and the world abroad, while bearing the vendetta of restoring the integrity of hip-hop culture and quality of radio listening as a whole. Cometh, watch, and listen as we are both enlightened with a true learning experience. Let us take the oath. Do you solemnly swear to speak the truth and nothing but the whole truth under the sun, moon, and stars, as stimulus dimension is the truth itself? So help you God. Much obliged. Hello, and welcome to Stimulus Dimension. Today's topic is entitled, Your Hand Guide to Beating Professional Jealousy. Chapter 1. All that lurks around corners. Strategize. Behind the shadows, all that is forsaken hides a true identity. Our mission? To unmask untruth and its wife deceit, both having exchanged vows under the matrimony of jealousy. Sounds like a job for the professional. After the door closes behind you when leaving home out into the elements, who do you profess to be? To profess means declaring or admitting openly and freely. Someone who professes is well-versed, pledging allegiance to a certain discipline or topic. Many adhere to a profession, which is a calling requiring specialized knowledge and often long and intensive academic preparation. Some label themselves as professionals. A professional is characterized by or conforming to the technical and ethical standards a particular profession upholds. Holding these titles suggests persons performing duties associated with them exude courtesy, are conscientious, and go about with business-like manner in the workplace. Anyone with work experience can attest to the fact a lot of people that profess to be a professional in a profession do not conduct themselves with professionalism. Around bends from all corners lurks somebody who happens to be defective. Typical toxic attitudes such kinds bring into the atmosphere, for starters, could come in forms such as ageism. A story called The Young, Old, and Restless, if you will. Past generations often find themselves overexerting supposed authority through throwing weight around in the direction towards someone younger, attempting to prove to themselves and everyone else they are still relevant. Throwing weight around is for treadmills. Carrying on like this only translates to their lifetime's work having failed to leave an impact in comparison to another that has covered more ground in a shorter time span. Now playing devil's advocate, some young professionals may write off or mistreat seniors, filling in their minds space that has been occupied for a sufficient duration of time should be emptied and refilled with a more vigorous, vibrant, vivid substance. When inside an environment that everybody calls themselves a professional, all should be equally respected without any deadlines whatsoever. The point being made here is the next time one side tries relating to the other like children, know that whomever is behaving irrationally is the one that is the child. Chapter 2. The Black Widow and Sex as a Weapon. Strategic. In the year 1492, it was reaffirmed the earth was round and not a flat surface. When something is round, this means taking on a circular shape. There is 360 degrees in a circle. Within 360 degrees, the world is made up of varying personalities. You may know some who possess delusions of having exalted personage consistently attempting to impose such beliefs on and at the expense of others. Actions like these spread distaste to all except like-minded individuals coming into contact with them, cutting the perpetrator's receptiveness from peers in half from 360 to 180. Persisting stupidity lessens the numbers more from 180 to 90, eventually winding down to 0. These kinds are identifiable in any setting. The cowardly, condescending ones hide behind sexuality. This population lives by the sword Sexcalibur, and so shall they die by it. Observing how this type interacts brings one to think about a similar pattern followed by the black widow spider. This insect contains poisonous venom believed to be 15 times stronger than that of a rattlesnake. During mating rituals, they sometimes kill and eat their partners, deriving the name Black Widow. The same is so with conversing between males and females under a so-called professional dwelling, figuratively speaking. Any sort of physical gesturing displayed amongst friends in friendliness, the two can and has been sought out for use as ammunition and empowerment of one over the other. The numerous cases of sexual harassment is imminent in some cases, but not all. During many wrongfully assessed circumstances, the complainant suffers immense feelings of inadequately coming up short in relation to a counterpart. Shortages could range from the other's achievements, like ability, notoriety, appearance, personal standing, and so on. A hurt of a past life might have warped the afflicted's way of thinking. Whatever the case may be, do not become blindsided by animosity. The opposition will counteract, saying their personal space was invaded. Due to the fact that a spider has no business inhabiting a human shell, they might discharge from the mouth poisonous venom consisting of snide remarks in an effort to thwart and decelerate your progress. Simply give the embittered what they request by keeping all dealings with them at a distance of cordiality. This can be achieved by using grocery store etiquette. When consumers know an item is not hardly worth the price being propositioned, it is bypassed. Once unbought merchandise has been marked down to its cheapest, if still remaining on the shelf, it is discarded because obviously no one is interested in purchasing. Anytime spiders using a facade as human beings cannot appreciate being treated as a human being, conclusions are jumped to like a game of musical chairs. Even though what the insect is insinuating is the farthest thing from your mind as Neptune is from Starbucks. Always be careful with what you say or do among black widows. After the song playing tires during the musical chair event, eventually coming to a complete stop, take a glance around. All the chairs have emptied, which once held unwitting, disinterested participants. The only chair still occupied is that of the vicious, hideous, accusatory bug who's now been depleted of falsified web to entangle anyone with. Now returning from whence they came, a deserving, unsavory reputation is bestowed upon our human in disguise. But this time around, common knowledge echoes throughout the halls. Stay away. Avoid being contaminated by another who emanates poison from limb to limb. Kiss of the Black Widow. Chapter 3. Cliques. Strategy. Little do we know, places we frequent, whether it being a place of employment, recreation, or worship, are houses of cards neatly stacked by those who were there before us. But is it a house of lies? Anything built from a weak foundation will dismantle at the slightest manipulation. Demolition day is inevitable. Cards stacked against the righteous manifest in co-workers, acquaintances, supervisors, and other authority figures, or the friends we choose. Irate co-workers are known to band together in formulating schemes for discrediting another whom they don't like, for whatever reason. Insults are thrown around the disliked with the purpose of imbalancing their emotions, which can possibly alter performance. When faced with tactful ploys geared toward your undoing, play the neatly stacked card house in a way that makes an outcome advantageous for you. Stay within guidelines of the institution to evade any traps. Options are limitless. Verbally outwitting an enemy works temporarily. Success in succession is long-lasting. When the human body reaches outward or upward, it can only touch and grasp what the wingspan allows. Constantly ascending to new heights makes any type of unfavorable contact impossible, because what cannot be reached will not be touched. Chapter 4, Invictus. I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. A smile inverted is a frown. Throughout life's journey, we are surrounded by faces bearing smiles, some genuine, some not, and it is understood where the latter stands. We must invictuously navigate above fate others try to create for us into a utopia forged on the heavenly clouds of our biggest dreams. A friend that distanced themselves during your successes has provided leeway for a peace of mind. Untrue friends we share our plans with have wondering eyes on blueprints of the ultimate goal. Knowing what your next move will be gives them an opportunity to suffocate everything you've breathed life into. Let them fade into the winds so that your foundation remains strong. A house made from a stern foundation is a house that will never fall. Thanks for tuning in. I'm DENNELL Young, resident of Stimulus Dimension. You've fallen into a state of mind known as Stimulus Dimension. I'm a resident of the realm and your host, DENNELL Young. This entity delves into the source of environmental ills we are faced within the Black community and the world abroad, while bearing the vendetta of restoring the integrity of hip-hop culture and quality of radio listening as a whole. Cometh, watch, and listen as we are both enlightened with a true learning experience.